It's late December, the kind of cold that makes the window panes mist over from the warmth inside. Remember that sight? A record player hums softly in the corner, crackling just a little as it spins an old Christmas album. You can almost hear it, right? The living room glows, not with bright LEDs, but with that gentle amber shimmer only old-school decorations could make. The smell of pine drifts through the air, mixing with cookie dough cooling on the counter. Every ornament holds a tiny story, a fingerprint from someone we loved. Here's the part most people forget. Christmas used to feel different, slower, soft around the edges, more handmade, more heartfelt. Do you feel that memory waking up? Today, we're stepping back into those old-school Christmas decor traditions, the ones that didn't just decorate a home, but wrapped it in warmth. And this video will remind you of things you didn't even realize you missed. Some memories might even surprise you. Before we jump in, if nostalgia is your comfort place, make sure you subscribe, because every week we bring forgotten memories back to life. Over the next 15 minutes, you'll walk through a world of aluminum trees, handmade stockings, clattering bubble lights, scented candles that smelled exactly like Grandma's kitchen, and those magical moments when families gathered around that one fragile cardboard box filled with ornaments. You know the box I'm talking about. You'll remember the textures, the scratchy tinsel, the velvet bows. The sounds, the gentle pop of a warming bulb. The smells, like wax from a candle that burned every Christmas since 1978. It's amazing what just one scent can unlock. Most importantly, you'll remember how these decorations made Christmas feel personal, imperfect, and completely magical. So settle in. Let's take a journey back home to a holiday season filled with charm, warmth, and all the little touches we didn't realize were slowly fading away. Because some traditions deserve a comeback, and maybe this year they'll return through you. Let's begin. 1. The return of bubble lights. There was something mesmerizing about bubble lights, those little glass tubes perched on the branches, warming up slowly until tiny streams of bubbles danced inside. The moment you saw one flicker to life, it felt like Christmas had officially arrived. They gave off a soft hum of warmth, both literally and emotionally. These lights first became popular in the 1940s and 50s, selling for about $1 a strand, a small fortune then, but families kept them for decades. You might remember the way they smelled, faintly like warm plastic, or how the bulbs got just hot enough that parents kept reminding kids, "Don't touch." What made them special wasn't just the motion, it was the anticipation. You'd plug them in, step back, and wait for that first blurp, blurp, blurp to begin. And there was always that one bulb that took forever to start bubbling, making everyone watch it like a tiny performance. Bubble lights weren't just decorations, they were little glowing memories that flickered with personality. And deep down, part of you might still remember how magical it felt to sit near the tree, listening to the room settle into that warm, sparkling quiet. 2. Tinsel that looked like actual ice. 221 words. Before the perfectly manufactured metallic strands of today, tinsel used to shimmer like frozen rain. The real old tinsel, especially the classic pre-1960s lead-based kind, hung with a heavy, silky weight that made every branch look dusted in winter. You could feel the coolness of each strip as you slid them into place, and if you held them under the light, they captured every color of the room like thin mirrors. They came in paper envelopes that smelled faintly like attic cardboard and cold air. Putting tinsel on the tree wasn't a task, it was a ritual. One piece at a time, not the grab a handful and toss approach that kids tried when they thought no one was watching. And there was always that soft suspense. Would the cat knock off half the tinsel? Would the radiator breeze blow it into the carpet? Yet the result was worth it, a tree that glowed with glimmers like it had been caught in a timeless snowfall. Tinsel wasn't just decoration. It made the living room feel enchanted. It made shadows dance. It made Christmas sparkle in a way we rarely see anymore. 3. Felt stockings with names sewn in yarn. Remember those thick felt stockings? The ones with slightly crooked letters because someone stitched them by hand? The texture was soft but dense, like old wool coats. They often had sequins sewn on with silver thread, and every time the light hit them, they shimmered with just a little wobble. These stockings often lasted generations, patched and repaired like beloved heirlooms. The beauty was in the imperfections. A snowman with one eye higher than the other, a reindeer nose sewn on a bit too big. But those tiny flaws made each stocking feel personal. You knew exactly whose hands created them, Grandma at the dining table, or Mom with a needle between her fingers while watching TV. And their sound, yes, they had a sound, was unforgettable. That soft crinkle when you reached inside on Christmas morning, brushing against the felt seams as small treasures waited at the bottom. Bringing these back isn't just about decor. It's about bringing back a sense of home, of continuity, of stories that hang quietly on the wall every December. 4. Paper chains made from colored construction strips, 225 words. There was a time when every classroom, every living room, and every child's imagination came together to create one simple decoration, the paper chain. Strips of red, green, gold, and sometimes even white construction paper, cut unevenly, glued hastily, but glowing with childlike charm. The smell of school glue mixed with crayons is impossible to forget. Link by link, each loop brought the room to life. You'd wrap them around the tree, drape them across doorways, or hang them from the ceiling like colorful waterfalls. They didn't shine, they didn't blink, but they filled a room with warmth. And there was always that one chain link that didn't quite close because the glue dried too fast, so it dangled a little loose. Paper chains weren't about perfection. They were about participation. Everyone in the family adding a few links, laughing, competing to see who could make the longest row. And when the chain finally stretched around the room, it felt like you decorated not just your home, but your own childhood. Bringing back paper chains means bringing back the joy of crafting together. No screens, no instructions, just color, conversation, and connection. 5. The Aluminum Christmas Tree Revolution, 222 words. Nothing says retro Christmas like an aluminum tree, shimmering, lightweight, and glinting like a sci-fi winter wonderland from 1962. These trees didn't pretend to be real. They sparkled with bold confidence, each branch made of silvery needles that felt cool and crisp to the touch. The moment you set it up, the room filled with a faint metallic scent, almost like opening a box of old ornaments. Most aluminum trees came with a color wheel, remember that? A spinning disc of red, blue, green, and yellow light that transformed the tree without a single bulb being attached. As the wheel turned, shadows shifted across the walls, and the tree seemed alive, glowing in slow motion magic. These trees were symbols of optimism, of the future, of the mid-century belief that Christmas could be stylish and modern. Bringing them back now isn't just nostalgia. It's a celebration of bold design, of an era that wasn't afraid to sparkle differently. 6. Ornaments made from real glass, not plastic. 217 words.
There was a weight to glass ornaments, light yet somehow significant. The moment you picked one up, you could feel the cool smoothness of the surface and hear that faint, delicate clink if it touched another ornament. These were treasures stored in cardboard dividers wrapped in thin tissue that always smelled slightly musty like old photo albums. Painting styles varied: hand-painted swirls, shimmering mica-flecked snow, tiny scenes of cottages or bells. And everyone had that one special ornament, the fragile one that only adults were allowed to hang. The emotional tension was real. Every year someone whispered, "Careful, be careful," as you lifted a glass bulb from the box. And the symbolism was powerful. Beautiful things need gentleness. Bringing back glass ornaments means bringing back that sense of respect for delicate beauty. 7. Candle lanterns with real wax, 206 words. Before battery-powered candles took over, Christmas decor often included real wax lanterns, heavy, warm, and glowing with a softness that LEDs can't imitate. When you lit one, the room filled with the subtle smell of melting wax and warm air. The flame flickered gently, casting shadows on the walls that made everything feel alive. Parents always gave warnings: don't walk too close, don't touch the glass, watch your sleeve. But that little danger made the moment magical. Candle lanterns symbolized peace, just light, warmth, and a quiet moment to breathe. Bringing them back doesn't mean ignoring safety. It means embracing slower, softer lighting that invites stillness. 8. Window candles that glowed like warm stars, 224 words. Remember those single electric candles placed on windowsills? The ones with the golden bulbs that glowed like tiny stars guiding people home. When you walked past a house with those candles glowing softly in every window, it felt like the whole neighborhood was wishing you a Merry Christmas. The bases were often brass-colored plastic, slightly warm to the touch, and the cords were always just a bit too short. But the effect was unforgettable. These candles were symbols of welcome, tiny beacons in the winter darkness. Bringing them back means bringing back that sense of quiet hospitality, a message written in light.
9. Nativity sets you could actually touch, 210 words. Old nativity sets were made to be handled, not just displayed. The figures were crafted from ceramic or wood, smooth yet textured, with paint that faded gently over the years. Kids would move the animals around, adjust the wise men, and sometimes hide the baby Jesus until Christmas morning. The scent of the wooden stable mixed with old boxes and pine branches created a comforting smell of tradition. These sets weren't fragile museum pieces, they were part of childhood. Bringing them back means inviting hands-on storytelling into the season once again. 10. Popcorn and cranberry garlands. If you ever spent an evening threading popcorn or cranberries onto a needle and string, you remember the sound. The gentle crunch of popcorn, the soft puncture of a berry, the quiet conversation happening around the table. The garland felt cool and slightly sticky from the fruit juice, and your fingertips would end up stained red. The smell of fresh popcorn filled the room, mingling with pine and sugar cookies cooling somewhere nearby. These garlands brought families together in a way few decorations do today. They required time, patience, and teamwork. And when you finally hung them on the tree, it felt like you were decorating with love made visible. 11. Handmade door wreaths with real evergreens. Before store-bought wreaths became the norm, many families made their own using real evergreen branches, pine cones, berries, and ribbon. The scent was unforgettable, sharp, fresh, cold, and full of winter. You could feel the sap on your fingers and hear the satisfying snap of branches bending into a circle. These wreaths aged gracefully, drying into soft, rustic beauty as the season went on. Bringing them back means bringing back authenticity, nature at your doorstep. 12. Painted Christmas windows with soap frost. There was a time when families, or sometimes entire neighborhoods, painted their windows for Christmas using soap flakes mixed with water. The result, magical frost that glimmered in the sunlight. Some added stencils of bells, trees, or snowmen. The act of painting was half the fun, the texture cool and foamy on your fingertips. The smell of soap mixed with winter air created a scent that instantly screamed December. Window painting wasn't about artistry. It was about joy, community, and the thrill of seeing your own artwork glowing at night as cars passed by. Bringing this back could restore a little wonder to winter evenings. As we journey back through these old-school Christmas decorations, it becomes clear that they weren't simply objects. They were experiences, tiny rituals that made the season feel fuller, warmer, and more meaningful. Every bubble light, every handmade stocking, every shimmering glass ornament held a story, a memory, a moment frozen in time. Maybe what we're really longing for isn't just the decor itself, but the feeling that came with it. The togetherness, the carefulness, the anticipation, the belief that small things mattered. And maybe, just maybe, this year is the perfect time to bring some of these traditions back. Not to recreate the past exactly, but to reconnect with its heart. Make a paper chain with your kids. Hang a glass ornament that makes you hold your breath. Place a warm, glowing candle in your window. Let your home tell a story again. Because Christmas isn't made by what we buy. It's made by what we remember, what we share, and what we cherish enough to bring forward. Thank you for taking this nostalgic journey. May your holidays be filled with the kind of beauty that doesn't need perfection, just heart.